Hello, welcome to Meraki channel. It's an honor and a privilege to have you here. I'm Lesani, and in this channel I talk about personal development, self-awareness, expansion of the consciousness, law of attraction, and it's not about self-help, by the way. Most of my videos are recorded in Portuguese because that's my first language, with one exception so far, which was the video I did with my dear friend Fatima Sharif about friendship, kindness and compassion. But rather than that, all in Portuguese. Some friends have asked me to record in English, mostly my dear friend Carl, who watches my videos in Portuguese with the subtitles generated by YouTube, which is not always accurate. Then here I am. So thank you so much. Meraki is a Greek word and it means something done with love, led by the heart, by the soul. And today I'm here to talk about some teachings from Marianne Williamson. Marianne Williamson is an American motivational speaker and a spiritual teacher, and she's been teaching for over 35 years based on her own studies in the Course of Miracles. I've been following her work for a very long time. I've read her books, I watched her YouTube videos, I did some online courses, and I even saw her live here about 3 years ago, and I think she's magic. I love her message. Even though I have to confess, I struggle with her language at first because she talks a lot about God, and I consider myself non-religious. I'm much more flexible now. But I don't like to have my identity attached to a single religion. I have my faith now. I've been working on my own spirituality, but I didn't like the idea of God, like the Christianity brings it to us. But I got past that, and I started seeing God as, like, every time she would say, God, we are all children of God, I used to replace the name God for the universe. Anyway, but now I'm pretty comfortable with her teachings, with God, and I'm glad I'm in peace with God, let's say. So this online course I was doing today, I listened to this some years ago, and it was interesting, but this time I listened to with another level of openness, and it's about relationships. And in many of her teachings I heard her use this metaphor, which is basically, she says that God, or the universe, has this gigantic machine that has an infinite amount of data, and it works all the time processing information and works at matching you with that person who is has the more potential to provide to healing. In other words, it has more potential to make you a better person, to help you to grow, to help you to evolve as a human being, as a spiritual being, she says. And which I think it's interesting, because maybe that's the reason why we usually, I don't know, I'm speculating, maybe that's the reason why we often are not interested, we don't fall in love for that person who is too easy, who loves us the way we are, who accepts us the way we are and offer no challenge. But we want the one that's more difficult, more unavailable, I don't know, because that triggers us, our wounds, our fears and our mommy issues and daddy issues, I don't know. But Marianne says that it's always an opportunity. The person who is in front of you is not a relationship you desire or you put on a pedestal. Oh, I will be perfect when I have this relationship, when this person, and then many relationship coaches advise us to make a list of the qualities, that the non-negotiables. And I even spoke a little bit about that, what is non-negotiable, in another video of mine in Portuguese, obviously. And what is negotiable. And many relationships coach talk about that we should think about what are our requirements for the other person. But Marianne Williamson, based on the Course in Miracles, she says that what we should focus is on what we can give, what we have to offer. I would say something in between. Like, personally, you have to have your standards, yes, but you have to match those standards. You have, if you want someone who is loyal, who is intelligent, who is whatever, you have to also have the same qualities to offer, or at least want to work on them. But she explains that from the spiritual viewpoint, we should be more concerned of what we have to give, to offer. And she also says that relationships are not meant to our happiness, but is also for the common good, is for the universe. And I took notes here because it was so much information. And she says that when we are attached, we are connected to our ego, we start judging, we bring people, like, let's say when you go to an online dating or something, we attach it, we judge people by their appearance, by their looks, by how they sell themselves. And the ego is always looking for something to judge you, to criticize you. But when we look to others, not only to a potential partner, but to our brothers and sisters, with the lens of love, we just see beauty. And that's her invitation, basically. And then she suggests, which I find really, really interesting, that the best way to be connected with our love, to be connected with God, and to have meaningful lives is we have to set an intention in the morning. Our morning routine is vital, is super important. She says, like, when we wake up in the morning and you just go after of our business with no preparation, we are more prone to make mistakes. We are more prone to be judgmental, to be mean. We don't have the intention, the clear intention to be mean or to be sarcastic or to mess up our relationships. But when we are on the autopilot, we are more prone to make those kind of mistakes because we are attached to the ego, not to our spiritual side. And she even says, which I loved, she said, when we make a choice based on an unloving feeling, we are based on our ego, and we have the chance to choose again. I have it better written here somewhere else. And she, going back to the morning routine, so she says that it's very, very important in the morning to meditate or pray or just sit still for 5 minutes. And according to the Course in Miracles, 5 minutes is enough. When you set an intention, you're grateful for what you have, you set an intention to share the light, to share the love, to share the beauty in you, you generate and you co-create better and healthier relationships and better opportunities for love. And she also says that this is very important, and I always talk about that when I mention law of attraction. She said that every single thought is so powerful. Our thoughts have so much power, and our thoughts have the potential to materialize. So it's important that we choose our thoughts, because when we think in scarcity or betrayal or revenge or lack of forgiveness, when we are resentful, we generate more of that. So when we understand, when we are able to forgive, really forgive, and think like, this person didn't have the intention, the conscious intention to hurt me, and I'll set that person free, we generate more love and more conditions to co-create the love in our lives. She also says, it's so much information, I won't be able to wrap it all up in this short video. But she also says that when we are connected with the ego, and the ego has its purpose, the ego is involved, is committed to keep us safe, not to make us happy. Because the worries, the concern of the ego is to keep us safe, to protect us from. So if there is the potential for us to get hurt, we connect with the ego, we start seeing the problems with the other person, and then we start being critical, and then we are talking with the language of the ego, and we attack the other. In other words, we are not using the language of love. So if I have a partner, boyfriend, or even, it doesn't have to be even the relationship I'm in, but if the relationship is the person you're connected in front of you at that moment, not the relationship you expecting to have. So it might be your partner, your husband, or your girlfriend, but it might be the person who you have in your mind at that moment. And then if you start being blaming or victimizing yourself, you are pushing that person away, because you are talking through the ego, from the ego, not from, like Meraki, from the soul, from the heart. You're letting your ego lead you. And when you talk about from the loving place, that's what she means. You can choose again, and you can choose to talk through love. When you don't demand, because the real love is detached, you don't demand attention, you don't victimize yourself. You hold that space with love, but then you have to have a conscious intention. And she also uses a metaphor, like it's like a physical muscle. You know, when we get older, gravity start pushing everything down, and if you don't work that muscle, whatever muscle in your body you choose to work, that the gravity will push it down, and that muscle will get weaker and weaker over the years. So with our spiritual work, it's the same thing. If we don't work out that muscle, set that intention, ask God to connect us, to guide us, we let the gravity, not the gravity, we let the ego lead, and then we attract more undignifying relationships. So basically, the most important things, I know it's a lot of information and I'm kind of overwhelmed myself. I took so many notes here, and now I find it difficult to one thing I want to mention, she says, is like if you are not at peace, you chose an unloving thought and you can choose again. That's the real quote. I paraphrased earlier before. What else should I mention here? Oh, she also says that when we make the choices based on our ego, which is fear, and she says we have always two choices. We can choose through fear or through love, but we can choose again, obviously. And then she says that the universe, according to the Course in Miracles, the universe is very, very wise and is invested in our enlightenment, is invested in our personal growth. So when we choose, when we make a choice based on our ego, in our fear, our criticism, whatever it is, and it's not a loving choice, the universe holds on trust, that miracle. Because when we choose through love, from a detached, you're not demanding love, you're not demanding attention. Why you don't reply to my messages straight away? Why you not taking me out? Why you not doing this or this and that for our relationship? It's because you are not showing up for the relationship, because you are attached to an ideal that you created in your mind. Mind you, this is all very nicely said, but is not easily done. And she confessed herself that she fails to do it, and it's a constant exercise. And even she told this story, I found it really interesting. She told this story about, she said, oh, something happened to me years ago. I told that story before, like if it happened to someone else, but actually it was me. And I super related with that. It resonated with me, because I do that in my videos. Sometimes I tell a story pretending it happened to someone else, or it's a story I heard, but it's actually happened with me. So Marianne Williamson, this didn't happen with me, it happened with her. She says, like, when she was going through a breakup, she said to the partner, the boyfriend, like, he left her for another woman, and she said to him, oh, you are only leaving me for her, because I bet it's because she always tells you're amazing, you're wonderful, you're lovely. And he replied, yeah, it's partially true. And then she came to this realization, obviously you choose love, you choose someone who sees your beauty, who sees you as a child of God, and not someone who keeps pointing your flaws, or who keeps criticizing you, or who keeps sending messages that you're not good enough. So it was a wake-up call for her. And who hasn't done that? I'm guilty. you know, and sometimes we do, and I do that myself as well. It's never enough. I feel like, okay, but if only you give this step towards the investing the relationship, and then when the person does it, it's still not enough. So we have to watch, because this is the ego guiding us. So going back to her teachings, let me think. Oh, that's what I was going to say before. She said the universe is very just, it's very fair. Like when we choose led by the ego, we don't make, miracles can't happen. But when love is the most powerful force in the universe, and love creates miracles. But when we choose based on ego, miracles cannot be created. But the universe is so fair that it holds in trust the miracles when we evolve, when we become better. But many of us don't evolve. We keep like that spiral, we keep going circles, and always co-creating the same kind of relationships. And then we say, oh, but I only attract men who is this, or women who does this, or is unavailable, or is unkind, or whatever. But then when we stop focusing on the other person and focus on what we can improve, we are going to upgrade our standard naturally. And then when we evolve and we work on our end, we are more ready to co-create through love, and then the miracles can happen. So it's a lot of messages from her. I'm overwhelmed myself, but I think you got the gist of it. It's not simple, but it is simple. No, it's not always easy to practice, but it's simple. That's what I want to say. But the main message is set an intention every morning to connect with God, whatever is your religion, or if you don't have a religion, it can be just a simple meditation or breathing, throughout the breathing. Just ask the universe to connect you through the language of love, that you can make loving choices and you can be less judgmental when you look at your brothers and sisters. And you are led, you don't need to know, I said that in the previous video recently, about how we label people when but it's in Portuguese obviously, and we have this instant judgment, and how it delays our personal growth. But the message she shares, Marianne Williamson, is like, we have to let go of those judgments, of those labels, and just accept that everyone is children of God. Everyone has their beauty, and when we are not like ready for the fight, we are vulnerable. And in reality, this is such a beautiful concept, because the miracles happen only when there is vulnerability, when we lower our guards, when we show our true colors, when we are armed, when we are attacking. Miracles cannot happen because we are repelling people, we are not attracting. Woo! And setting the intention for the morning, and practice, and try to look at our brothers without judgment. I think that's the main message. And yeah, let's all try to speak through the language of love and create a better world. We need it desperately. We need love. Thank you so much for watching, and yeah, forgive my grammar mistakes, and yeah, big kiss.